of our book review channel here on Little Bunnies Workshop. Today I am thrilled to kick off this series with a beautiful book and another beautiful, awesome story by Andrew Clements, Frindle. But before we dive into the information about this book, let me tell you why I have started this series and the goals for the series. I started this series because I believe reading is not just meant for entertainment. It's also very important in our lives. We humans can be teleported into magical worlds with Rudyard Kipling, Andrew Clements, and many other authors. These worlds will actually boost our creativity. The goals are just simple: to create a good and healthy habit of reading books every day. Books can also expand your vocabulary. Now, with that all in mind, let's delve into the book Frindle. Today, I am absolutely excited to talk about an adventurous and a beautiful book, Frindle by Andrew Clements. So, before we delve into what is Frindle about, let's look at the book details. The book name, as I've told you a lot of times, is Frindle. The author is Andrew Clements and the illustrator is Brian. It was originally published in 1996. Language is, of course, English, and the genre is realistic fiction and children's fiction. Now let's discuss the main characters of the story. The main characters of the story is the young boy Nicholas Allen. He loves challenging the rules and trying to create something new every time. Mrs. Granger. Mrs. Granger is his very strict 5th grade language arts teacher. She thinks that everybody should be using proper vocabulary and should quit on using the word Frindle. She never supported the idea of Frindle. Or did she? Together with his Nick's friends, he embarks on a nail-biting chase to create Frindle as not just for his school, but to bring Frindle outside of the school walls. Let's look at the summary of the story and some fun facts about the story. The summary of the story. It's about a 5th grader boy, Nicholas Allen, who loves challenging authority. He loves to bend the rules. He's not a troublemaker, of course. He just likes to liven things up. When Nick decides to create the new word Frindle, it was all during a plain, boring class of language arts. When a question went over his head. Who says pen means pen? Does. We do. But Nick bended the rules. Nick gets the beautiful idea of creating his own word to replace the word pen. Frindle. Nick goes through many hardships, but in the end, it all works out happily as the word becomes popular. What I liked about this book, I liked how Mrs. Granger poses as the villain when she is secretly rooting for Frindle. Who expected this strict language arts teacher to do so? Fun facts. Did you know the idea of Frindle just came from Nick's curiosity? He loves challenging the rules. And Mrs. Granger decided to embrace the word Frindle in the end. Who thought us old and strict language teacher would embrace such a funny word? That shows even teachers can have humor. One of the funniest parts is when Mrs. Granger herself writes the letter to Nick, showing she is sorry and she loves the word Frindle. Illustration. In some editions of the book, like my edition of the book, there are beautiful illustrations which help you actually delve into the book. While Frindle is mainly a chapter book, the illustrations add that little spark that actually makes the readers even more interested than they are. Rating. I would give Frindle a spot on 5 out of 5 stars. It truly is such an amazing book, and Andrew Clements has so well described everything. I would recommend this book to anybody at any age if they love creative, funny, and out-of-the-box stories. One lesson that we can all learn from Frindle is to think outside the box. As we saw, just that one question of Nick and Nick thinking outside of the box, he used his creativity and determination to create Frindle as a real word. Who thought just one simple question could make Nick so famous? Well, that wraps up my book review on Frindle. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn that grey like button blue and that red subscribe button grey and share it to all your family members and friends who you think should know about this brilliant book. If you have any other recommendations of book for me, please be sure to tell me in the comments or on my social media handles. Bye, Bunnies!